Hello everyone, welcome to today's online forum. My name is Ella Lee. It is very special and meaningful to talk about this topic because yesterday was December 10th. It is observed as Human Rights Day, which was proclaimed by the United Nations in 1948. Please watch the video.
Distinguished guests, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, good day. The UN General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights on December 10, 1948, and 2 years later declared December 10th the Human Rights Day. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is based upon human liberty and equality, and the first document in history that details 30 fundamental human rights. It is also the most widely translated document, available in more than 500 languages. Human rights is a universal value that has been recognized as the foundation of freedom, justice, peace, and security, as well as of the sustainable development of human society. Inspired by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the United Nations adopted the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights in 1966. To further clarify and act upon the spirit of human rights, the two covenants and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights combined into the International Bill of Human Rights, the most important human rights bill in the world, and the very foundation of international human rights law. On this important day, we are once again reminded that every human being is endowed with fundamental human rights. No person or public power should infringe or deprive others of their basic human rights. These rights should be respected, protected, and jointly defended. American human rights activist Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has once said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Mr. Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, said human rights violations harm us all. Only when human rights are recognized and honored will peace be achieved. Respect for human rights is the common linkage between democratic nations. However, fundamental human rights are violated in many parts of the world. Human rights defenders, following the calling of conscience, are taking to the street and demanding that public authorities respect and protect citizens' civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights. The calling of human rights is heard. Everyone is urged to take immediate action for the future of their country. Human rights are at the core of 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Sustainable development cannot be achieved without human dignity. We have to create equal opportunities in order to achieve sustainable goals. We are determined to take actions to protect human rights and remain united as we recover from the pandemic and go beyond into a brighter future. The United Nations is calling on world citizens to stand up for human rights and put human rights in the center of the post-pandemic world, urging social reforms to create an international community built upon freedom and fearlessness with more inclusiveness, resilience, and equality. The world is now full of uncertainties and challenges. Global problems such as war, environmental changes, extreme climate patterns, excessive exploitations of resources, and unequal distribution have provoked the COVID-19 pandemic and Mother Nature to fight back, causing unpredictable and devastating disasters for mankind. In the chaos, human rights are under immediate threat from special interests and corrupt government bureaucracy. The chaos stems from the same root. Michelle Bachelet, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, said there is a vaccine to hunger, poverty, inequality, and possibly, if it is taken seriously, to climate change, as well as to many of other ills that face humanity. The name of that vaccine is human rights. We should properly apply the human rights vaccine to help us build more resilient, prosperous, and inclusive societies. Our common humanity is rooted in human rights, equality, justice, and freedom. These core values need to be reiterated, heard, put into practice. Then the human society will be able to avoid violence and achieve stability and peace. Under the doctrine of cause and effect, just like the rule of heaven and earth, wrongdoers will eventually bear the consequence. To find solutions, it is necessary to go back to the root cause of the problem and change the root cause. Heart is the root cause of our problems. Selfishness causes people to forget the respect between people. True human rights attainment requires basic respect among people. There will be no peace, equality, democracy, and fraternity with no human rights. Human rights comes from conscience. Conscience is the origin of all virtues. Compassion is the footing of morality. Human rights is based upon conscience and love. Humanity is connected with compassion. French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau said a principle of justice and virtue exists in the depth of soul. This is conscience. In recognition that conscience is the key to change the world, the UN General Assembly declared April 5th the International Day of Conscience in 2019. In recognition that love and peace is the most important foundation for sustainable development and mankind's common well-beings, the Federation of World Peace and Love promoted the declaration of International Day of Conscience to urge people to seek win-win solutions with peace and harmony in order to solve national and international crises. All world citizens are encouraged to nurture love in their hearts, to strike a balance in the pursuit of economic, social, cultural, spiritual, technological, and educational development. Conscience is the most needed universal vaccine. On Human Rights Day, we look forward to working with states, organizations, and world citizens to protect, promote, and practice human rights as we meet challenges with creative and effective solutions. On the path to securing universal human rights, we need to have faith, merit, strength, and courage to overcome obstacles as we work hand in hand with like-minded, and to continue the work of securing a human rights-friendly environment. We need to focus on the collective well-being inherent to our conscience. Let's create sustainability and a united world with human rights, dignity, peace, equality, freedom, stability, and happiness. May we all have peace and health. May the world have prosperity and harmony.
It also is an important milestone for all mankind because the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted on this day. This declaration states that every human being has equal rights, regardless of race, sex, social status, beliefs, and so on. So, the Human Rights Day provides us a good opportunity to reflect on the Tai Ji Men case from a perspective of human rights protection. Tai Ji Men is an ancient menpai of Qigong, martial arts, and self-cultivation. Now to give you a more comprehensive understanding of this case and how members of Tai Ji Men have been deprived from their fundamental rights, we would like to introduce you a video. In this video, Dr. Massimo Intervene, founder and director of the Center for Studies on New Religions, gives a very clear introduction to Tai Chi Men and how this case happened. Please watch the video.
What is the Tai Chi Men case and what the Tai Chi Men case is not? The Tai Chi Men case is a case of freedom of religion or belief form, which we can divide in 4 types. Type 1, we all know that Taiwan enjoys religious liberty, unlike mainland China, but it was not always the case. Taiwan had a policy of controlling and repressing independent religious movements during the martial law period and beyond. And in 1996, religious and spiritual groups suspected of not supporting the president were severely repressed. Tai Chi Men was also involved in this, even if it never took political sides. Its grandmaster or shifu, Dr. Hong, was arrested and members were persecuted. Second time, the total victory of Tai Chi Men up to the highest courts in Taiwan. Tai Chi Men won all the court cases. Dr. Hong and his co-defendants were declared innocent and even awarded compensation money for the past unjust detention. Time number 3, however, a byproduct of this form persecution remain in the shape of tax bills. Even if the courts had said there was no tax evasion, the Tax Bureau continued to try to impose bills on Dr. Hong and Tai Chi Men. The Tax Bureau revoked all the bills except one for the year 1992 based on a technicality. And time number 4, even if courts of law told them not to do it, the Tax Bureau and the Enforcement Agency in 2020 auctioned and then confiscated lands belonging to Dr. Hong and intended for a spiritual cultivation center of Tai Chi Men. Now, it's important that we understand what the Tai Chi Men case is not. It's not a tax dispute between a citizen and the government. It will not create so much commotion. Of course, the case shows some injustice in Taiwanese tax bureaucracy, but we should remember that the root is the form. It's a freedom of religion or belief case, and what is done to Tai Chi Men is violation of form. Number 2, it's not about money. Tai Chi Men might have settled with the tax office and spent much less money than they did in prosecuting this case for 25 years, but it's about form. It's not about money, and that's why the case continues. And number 3, it's not a protest against Taiwan or the Taiwanese system. Those of the Tai Chi Men who live in Taiwan, who are Taiwanese citizens, they love their country, they are patriots, they understand Taiwan has a lot of problems, and precisely because of this, they want Taiwan to have a good image as a country where form is respected. So it is a form case, and because it is a form case, thousands of people are in the streets in Taiwan protesting about it. And because it's a form case, I believe it deserves to be internationalized, and all the governments, agencies, NGOs caring for FORB should care for this case and not to be misled into dismissing it as a private tax dispute between a citizen and the state, but understand that fundamental principles of freedom of religion and belief and respect for spiritual minorities are at work in this important case. Thank you.
I think that Dr. Intervene has pointed out a key point that this case is not an individual tax dispute between a citizen and the government, but a deprivation of fundamental freedom of belief that everyone should be entitled. Next, we would like to invite 3 distinguished speakers to share their thoughts on this case. First of all, we would like to hear from Peggy Xie. She works in a biotech company and she is also a Tai Chi Men dizi. She would like to share her own experience and what she found problematic about Taiwan's administrative remedy. Peggy, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone, I work as a specialist at a biotech company. In the post-epidemic era, the Taiwanese government has introduced more and more tools to detect the coronavirus, including viral antigen testing, PCR, and quick screening kit, in order to keep Taiwanese people from the panic of another massive pandemic. Today, I want to share with you guys based on a Tai Chi Men case about the current human rights situation in Taiwan. When I was a college student, I went to the Taichung High Administrative Court to hear the Tai Chi Men case verdict. When I arrived, there were many brothers and sisters here, and I saw 3 judges, Lin Qiuhua, Zhang Jingchang, and Liu Xixian on the side. At that time, there were 5 different cases in court, in which the verdicts were announced. Unfortunately, people lose all lawsuits. When we knew the result of a case, some of the brothers and sisters were very angry, and some were very sad. Some were crying loudly, and I feel time seems to have stopped, because I was too shocked to say a word. The presiding judge Lin Qiuhua just looked at us blankly and said, "Keep quiet." Then he turned around and left the court. That was a serious blow to me. I felt so desperate. I couldn't keep the judge and tell him that he was wrong. I couldn't do anything. What made us even more angry was that, at the press conference after the sentencing, Presiding Judge Lin Qiuhua admitted that because he is old, even if he has seen evidence which is beneficial to people, he will soon forget. I really don't understand how this happened in Taiwan. After investigation, we found that the 3 judges have all sentenced the people to lose the lawsuit throughout the year. A total of 178 tax lawsuits were filed in 3 years. From this case, we can understand that this is a common problem in Taiwan. The people winning rate of tax relief is only 6%, which is far lower than 40% in Germany and 50% in Czech Republic. The tax court judges lose their professionalism for their judgments, never based on the evidence. The corruption of Taiwan's tax judicial system tramples on the dignity of Taiwanese. During the weekend, I joined a tax reform group as a volunteer. On the street, we told the people in Taiwan that there were many tax slabs that result from national tax bonus system. We need to get the people's power to reform the tax environment. Everyone listens very carefully because they never knew it before. In my thesis, I studied the topic of viruses. Depending on the speed of invasion, Some patients show obvious symptoms in a short period of time after infection. This allows doctors to quickly diagnose and treat correctly. But another type of virus will hide in human body for decades. When your immune system is broken, the virus will activate in large numbers and destroy your organs. The tax virus is just like this. It exists everywhere, making our society worse by day, destroying the economy, legal principle, and human rights. A well-known international human rights expert, Massimo Introvision, said, "The Tai Chi Men case is important not only to Taiwan, but also to the whole world, because it exposed the habitual taxation tactics used by rogue bureaucrats to persecute innocent people, and even persecute vulnerable religious or spiritual groups. This is harmful to Taiwan's human rights. Therefore, we demanded that the Taiwan government should end the persecution of Tai Chi men immediately, start to reform the law and tax system, rescue all tax victims, and realize true human rights in Taiwan." Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Peggy. I would like also to thank you and your friends for spending your weekends promoting related information about taxpayers' rights. It's not just for Tai Chi Men, it's for the tax victim, for Taiwan society, and even for the whole world. Next, we would like to invite Jacky Liu. He is a business development manager. He uses 2 international days, Human Rights Day and Anti-Corruption Day, as checkpoints to review if Taiwan meets the standards of human rights protection and clean administration. Hi, Jacky. Welcome, and please go ahead.
Thank you, Ella. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Jacky Liu. Yesterday is Human Rights Day, and the day before yesterday is International Anti-Corruption Day. Everyone, every society, and every country on earth should reflect on those 2 important days to see if we really protect everyone's human right and freedom, and at the same time, if there's any corruptions involved while dealing with our daily lives. I would like to echo these 2 days here. Firstly, I would like to talk about human rights. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was proclaimed back to 1948 to protect people's belief and religious freedom. Today, 2021, however, 73 years later, Taiwan government is still hurting Taiwan's people by using illegal taxation as a weapon to limit people's belief and religious freedom, like Tai Ji Men False case. Furthermore, in 2020, the government auctions off Tai Ji Men sacred land, which is for our self-cultivated places. It's 73 years since 1948. Where is freedom of belief and religions in Taiwan? Taiwan has been praised by economists as the most democratic country in East Asia. But in IRF Summit 2021 in Washington, D.C., Tai Ji Men False case has been widely reported and concerned by many countries. It is hard to believe the Taiwan government has such notorious violations of religious freedom and human rights. Co-chair of IRF Summit 2021, Sam Brownback mentioned, "The religious freedom is for everybody, everywhere, all the time." Eric Roos, European Interreligious Forum for Religious Freedom, also mentioned, "No country is perfect, but the problem is that when it's a so-called democratic country, we start erring on the wrong side of the tracks. When injustice occurs in a place that is supposed to be one of the good places in the world, the effects may be worse than when it occurs in an already totalitarian country. Why? Because it lowers the very standards of democracy for the entire world. It sends the message that injustice will not matter, that wherever you are, bad guys can win over good guys. and that there is no accountability in this world. I would say that Taiwan is not a democratic country as of now. Today's government has been invited to talk about democracy in Summit of Democracy. Our government should be shame on it. They need to fix this Tai Chi Men False case at least, but now they didn't still. And it's a kind of discrimination. No matter what kind of people's colors, race, gender, etc., everyone should be treated equally. But Tai Chi Men False case has been treated by government unequally. No other group similar like Tai Chi Men has tax issue. Only Tai Chi Men has it. It's a typical discrimination. Today, I would like to call upon government to correct the officer wrongdoing and fix the issues. The human rights can prevail in Taiwan. Secondly, I would like to talk about anti-corruptions. From what I see, corruptions and bonus seems different, but the same if using illegal ways to collect it. National Taiwan Bureau administrators are greedy for bonuses. They're using illegal ways to get it. Corruption is the use of illegal ways to get profit. So being greedy for a bonus, somehow you might say it is corruption. Today, National Taiwan Bureau issues illegal tax bills to get bonus, which not belongs to themselves. Don't you think it is corruption? Administrative enforcement agencies still execute the case in order to get a bonus, even they know it is innocent. Even they can prolong enforcement owing to not clear judgment, but they didn't. They still do it. Don't you think it is corruption? Now, there are many officers pursuing promotion and wealth without following the law, without being accountable to get bonus or profit. Don't you think it is kind of corruption? In these two important days, I would like to call upon the governments. Protecting people's human rights and anti-corruption is not a slogan, it's an action. At the same time, I would like to call on the peoples in Taiwan to be awakened up. Only when people stand out and safeguard justice, Taiwan can progress and prosper. Or our people might be slaved by the government, and our government will not advance. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jacky. Your speech reminds me of a well-known confession quote by the German Lutheran pastor Martin Niemo. It says, "First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me." So I believe that it's very important for all of us to be aware of some of the social issues and speak out when it's not too late. And next, last but not least, we have Frank as our last speaker. Frank works as a business manager in a tech company. He is going to share with us how unreasonable the Tai Ji Men case is and how prosecutor Ho Kuan-ren used tax as a weapon to deprive people's rights. Welcome, Frank. The floor is yours.
Hello, my name is Frank. I'm a business manager in a technology company and also as a Tai Chi Men dizi. It's my honor to have this opportunity to meet with you online and share my thoughts. I've worked in the technology industry for nearly 25 years. When I was young, I worked very hard, even though I had taken a lot of pressure and had a good income, but I also lost my health. I came to Tai Chi Men to practice Qigong at the age of 38. I'm very grateful that my shifu, Dr. Hong Daozi, gave me two important gifts. First, by practicing Qigong, I'm healthy again. Second, my shifu teaches me the philosophy of life wisdom, so I understand the principle of life and change my mind. I'm sure that not only me, but every brother and sister in Tai Chi Men have received these two precious gifts in the same way. The Tai Chi Men tax case has entered its 25th year. It's an unfortunate thing for the country and the people. I believe you have watched a video on the internet recently. Mr. Shi Yuesheng, a former tax official who was originally forced by the prosecutor Hou Kuanren to give false testimony. He was interviewed by the reporters at the end of his life to restore the facts that he was forced to do so. Shi Yuesheng's perjury is the main evidence that the NTB illegally imposes taxes on Tai Chi men. And the prosecutor Hou Kuanren, who violated the law, was not punished until now. On the contrary, he became the deputy director of the Independent Commission Against Corruption. Our government has falsely indicated Tai Chi men for 25 years. The unexplained wrongful imprisonment has tarnished the reputation of Tai Chi men, waste the people's resource by entangling in lawsuit for many years, and has been illegally expropriated by the National Tax Bureau. Illegal expropriation of the property and the false accusation are not acceptable in the country under the rule of law. After experiencing the Tai Ji Men tax case, I realized that the Taiwan tax system has so many dark sides, so unfair and unjust. There are many other individual cases that are prosecuted and enforced by the government. Our case is only one of the tens of millions of tax enforcement cases. During these years, me, brothers and sisters of Tai Ji Men stood in front of Taiwan's presidential office, desperately hoping the government can hear our voices and return justice to Tai Ji Men who deserved. It's a shame to acknowledge such a tragedy that happened in Taiwan, a country speak about freedom, liberty, careness of people. December 10 is the United Nations International Human Rights Day. History tells us that human rights protection and economic development are interdependent and progress together. The protection of human rights is the most important foundation for the sustainability of a country. For a country's economic development to be good, the legal tax system and the legal tax official with the concept of human rights are the backbone. Therefore, we are examining whether a country values human rights. Not only it has signed the ICCPR and ICESCR, but focusing on comparing the 30's rights with the actual environment. Whether people's rights are violated, can they obtain effective relief? It will be quite clear. I sincerely hope that through international efforts, we can force the Taiwan government to put an end to its mistakes, immediately revoke the illegal tax bills, return the scar land to the Tai Chi men, and severely punish the illegal officials. Only this will demonstrate the true innocence of the International Human Rights Day, universal value. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Frank. It is very important for a country to have a transparent and clean administration. If a government is unable to hold corrupt officials accountable, the foundation of the country would be undermined. As Frank mentioned in his speech, yesterday was Human Rights Day. We hope that the world, as well as Taiwan, can eliminate all forms of human rights violation. As we all live in a global village, one person's suffering can be the suffering of all world citizens. This is why we gather here today to spread such an important message. We hope that all people can raise their awareness of human rights so that the world can be a better place. Again, thank you for joining us today. Thank you to our speakers for sharing their insightful opinions and their experiences. And for friends around the world who stayed tuned with us today, thank you again for your attention. To conclude today's forum, we would like to introduce you the song Human Rights for World Citizens. We hope that the rule of law, human rights, and justice prevail on earth. Thank you. I'm Ella Lee, and see you next time.